'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to calm down where you ought to be. And when you find yourself in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight.
When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed to turn. Turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? In these days, we find ourselves too often stuck with these questions that go through our heads as if on repeat. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? We grasp at signs and markers, articles of news and analysis, Facebook posts and forwarded emails, as if the new zodiac was capable of forecasting all that life may bring our way. As if we could prepare, as if life had ever made any promises of making sense or turning out the way we'd thought. As if we are not also actors in this still unfolding story. For this time, we gather on our screens together to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from the needing to know, the yearning to have it all already figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all the control or none. Here in our song and our silence, our stories and our sharing, we make space for new breath, a new healing, a new possibility to take root, a new possibility that is courage. Courage forged in the fire of our coming together, felt in the spirit that comes alive in this and any act of faith. That we believe a new world is possible, that we are creating it already, here, and now. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley. My name is Karen Elliott, and I'm the worship associate for this morning. This is a welcoming congregation, and we are always working on how to better welcome and care for one another. If this is your first time here, we're so glad you've come. And whoever you are, we welcome you in the fullness of who you are. As we begin, we want to acknowledge that this church occupies land in Huichin, the unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people. We understand that we continue to benefit from the seizure and occupation of this land. We acknowledge and embrace our responsibility to take restorative action. We affirm that this is deeply felt, and we commit our congregation to be in right relationship with Indigenous communities, aligning in solidarity, supporting Indigenous projects, and caring properly for the land. So, please take a moment now to prepare yourself and your space for our time together today. You might get a candle and a way to light it so you can join in the chalice lighting at home. As Reverend Michelle lights the chalice flame, let us kindle our own flames along with her to these words by Rebecca Savage. We light our flaming chalice each week with a simple spark to make holy our time together. With this flame, may our highest intentions be refreshed. With this flame, may we remember who we are and whose we are. With this flame, may our faith be renewed and reignited to guide our journey. Amen, and may this be so. We also pause to remind ourselves of some of the foundations of resilience. With Reverend Michelle, we light a candle of courage, a candle of acts of service, a candle of fellowship, and a candle of hope. These are brand new candles this week. May we find and cultivate these foundations of resilience in ourselves and in one another. And now, please join us in singing our opening song, Life is the Greatest Gift of All. Words will be on screen.
We are of life, His
Please join with me in saying our covenant. Love guides this church. The quest for truth and justice is its common purpose. To give thanks, listen deeply, speak with care, honor our differences, and seek and grant forgiveness. These things we covenant with one another.
In your face, I see a lifetime. In this place, I feel at ease. Wallpaper peeling, paint wearing thin. Here's where I end and begin. I don't need a roof to know I'm covered. I don't need a roof to know I'm home. There could be one single shingle dangling overhead. I don't need a roof to make my bed. Close your eyes. I'm here beside you. No goodbyes needed today. Hear what the rain says, know what it knows. After the rain, something grows. I don't need a roof to say I love you. I don't need a roof to know you're mine. I don't need adventure in some faraway frontier. I don't need a roof to feel you near. All I need is you and you forever. All I feel is true and absolute. I don't need a legal deed to help me play my part. I don't need a roof to hold my heart. Stay with me. Stay with me.
All right, so for our time for all ages today, I thought I'd do a little bit of talking about, we've got a pledge drive or something coming up, right? Now, does anybody have a dollar bill? Oh, great, here comes Beth Pollard, our board president, who's gonna help with, getting our pledge drive. Well, it's already started, but thank you. Okay, dollar bill here. So, what we're looking at here is, the pledge drive. So we got a dollar bill here. Oh, wait, let me show y'all. Here it is, dollar bill. And, you know, I thought we would talk about this, you know, and I'm wearing short sleeves. You can see I've got nothing up my sleeve. Now, we haven't quite found a volunteer who can, you know, spin straw into gold, although our own Anne Greenwood does some amazing work on our finances, as do many, many others. But, you know, things start little. You know how stores have a little dollar bill up on the walls that show what they started with? So we're going to start, you know, let's start our pledge drive with, you know, a single dollar bill. Nothing up my sleeves here. And okay, let's look at it, and we're going to make sure it is really, yep, here, dollar bill, see? It is really just a single dollar bill. And okay, yep, just a dollar bill. Just a dollar bill here. Nothing going on here. Okay, so what are we going to do with this dollar bill? Well, I want you to watch something very, very closely. Now, you might have looked at the back of a dollar bill before, and you've seen this pyramid on the back. I don't know if you're zoomed in close enough to be able to look at that pyramid. Can you look at the pyramid? It's a magical pyramid. Look closely at the pyramid. You watching it? Look closely at that pyramid. Oh, I've covered it up, but we know it's still there. We've got to fold it into the magic. The folding is very, very important. We watching this dollar bill? The folding of it is very, very, very important. Okay, we got the dollar bill, and now we'll fold it over. Oh my goodness, fold it over. Beth, what kind of dollar bill did you give me? This one doesn't want to fold. I don't know if I can do the magic with it. Okay. Okay, now we're going to rub it together, rub it and bend it and rub it together and bend it and oh goodness, what is this? Okay, look at this, look at this. What has happened to this dollar bill? Beth, I'm sorry, this dollar bill is not quite a dollar bill anymore. Look at this. We've added a zero to it. Okay, that's pretty cool. Wow. We added a zero to the dollar bill. And look here, this is $10 bill here. Do you think we can do it again? You think we can add another zero to this? Okay, I've got a few folks. Okay, folks in the back, do you think we can add another zero to this dollar bill? Yeah? All right, let's see if we can do it. Okay, so we've got this $10 bill now. Okay, let's see. And yes, it is just, see, just a $10 bill. You saw me. Just a $10 bill. See, that's all it is, just a $10 bill, right? Okay, now, this one doesn't have a pyramid on the back, but let's see if the magic will work anyway, because it's all about the fold. Are we ready for it? Okay, so it's all about the fold. So we fold it just like we did the $1 bill. We fold it carefully. Okay, we watching? It's still got the fold marks somehow from the $1 bill, and then we fold it up. You watching carefully. Watch this bill. You watching? Okay, and then we fold it. And we fold it. Yeah, okay, and now, got to do the bend. Okay, rub it, yeah. Come on, y'all come up here and rub it for me. I'm going to hold it so y'all can't see that anything's going on here. No sleeves. Rub it for me. Just rub it. Just rub it. Just rub it. Can we get this extra zero? Rub it a little bit more. Yeah? Okay, okay. Now, bend it. See, bending it, bending it, bending it. Ooh, I think we did it. Oh my goodness, I think we did it. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Wow. And look what we've done. Look what we've done. And yeah, we have made a $100 bill. What do you think? Do we want to add another zero? Oh, wait, you know, they don't print those. Then we'd be turning it into funny money. Okay, so we're actually going to need something like a congregational pledge drive to add some more zeros onto this. All right, you've been hearing about that. You'll hear about it some more. You can hopefully talking about it in your households so that we can, I don't know, through magic or through the magic of generosity, we'll call it that. we'll raise the money that we need for this church. All right, we've got some more music now, and we'll keep on going with our service. Thank you, folks. Shared the Ukrainian national anthem in our service as we stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine as they face the violation of their territory and the invasion of their country. We stand in solidarity with them. As we enter the time in our service that we make for our hearts and our spirits, for those and that which we care about, both around us and throughout the world, I invite us into this time of care. I invite us to share during this time in our service, as well as during the entire service, any joys and sorrows and challenges that we may each be facing. I invite you to write in the comments section these buoyances, happinesses, these sorrows, or significant milestones of your own or that your heart is with around you in the comments section. And as we see these and as we interact with each other, I invite us to hold these in the compassionate embrace and sanctuary of our hearts. Let us join now in a time of silence. Meditation today, I'm sharing a piece inspired by Psalm 23, written by Kevin Tarsa. May I remember in this tender moment that love is my guide, always, shepherding me toward ways of openness and compassion. I have what I need, really, with love at my side, above me, below me, in front of me, behind me. Inside every cell of me, love infused everywhere. Just when the weight of the world I inhabit threatens to drop me in place and press my hope down into the ground beneath me, love invites me to rest for a gentle while and leads the center of my soul to the quiet, still, restoring waters nearby that somehow I had not yet noticed. And so love, quietly, sets me once again on its tender and demanding path. Even when the walls close around me and the cries of death echo through untold corners. Gripping my heart with fear and sadness, I know that all will be well, that I will be well, that love whispers near to me, glints at the corner of my eye, rests with gentle and persistent invitation upon my shoulders. Yes, love blesses me, even as the sources and symbols of my pain look on. Love blesses me from its infinite well, and I turn and notice that goodness and kindness and grace follow me everywhere I go. I live in a house of love, love that will not let me go. I live in a house of love and always will. And as we share this house of love, let us join in singing now. It's actually the very first hymn in the gray hymnal. May nothing evil cross this door, for this place is a sanctuary that holds us. May nothing evil cross this door. The words will be on screen.
Sustenance and Sanctuary, Nourishment and Refuge. Since I began coming to UUCB, I've found sustenance here, essential nourishment for my heart and spirit. The Sunday worship services, that repeated phrase, whoever you are, we welcome you in the fullness of who you are. It touched my heart from the very first. The extraordinary covenant we recite together motivates me every week, as does the offering dedication. Our marvelous music, the reflections and readings that are shared, these things invite me to connect with the deeper parts of myself, and I'm fed. Sustenance comes to me through our many small group ministries Early on, leaders like Lenore, Camille, and Brian in the Chalice circles, LFDMC, and the choir inspired and supported me. And I began to learn what being in community and in covenant was all about. I began to enlarge my life, connecting with more people, finding affinities, forming bonds, and taking on service roles with the great good fortune of becoming a worship associate, where I'm able to work closely with a small group of people over time in covenant, helping with our church's worship services, and maturing in my own spiritual journey. Personal theology seminars and special events also fill my cup. Receiving and giving back both provide essential nourishment as I seek to live a meaningful life. And sanctuary, a place of safety. When I first came to UUCB in January of 2017, I was looking for social justice support. At the time, I was attending my other church, which was spiritually very nourishing, but lacked a social justice component. Back then, the Women's March was approaching, and I felt nervous participating without a group. That highlighted my deeper desire to increase my social justice activity overall. I've come to realize that for me, UUCB has been a sanctuary for my social justice work. That might seem like strange wording for activism, but UUCB is a place where I feel safe to grow my social justice self in a way that is true to me. I recall from my college days how some SDS folks could be bullies. Bullying isn't acceptable here. Instead, there's a covenant and commitment, the 7 principles, and welcoming. And remember that an additional definition of sanctuary is a habitat where something is found in natural abundance and also where it typically thrives. Well, I don't know about the natural or typical part, because I know we work at it and we need to. But here at UUCB, social justice awareness, commitment, and engagement is found in abundance. And from my perspective, it's thriving. It's exactly the kind of sanctuary the UUCB Social Justice Awareness Refuge that I need to grow more robust in my commitment to the work of social justice during this historically demanding time. And of course, the support for social justice work that I find here is a crucial way in which UUCB sustains me, because it helps me align my moral compass, which I need to live. And so I find a sanctuary here where I can be myself, seek my spiritual truth, find like-minded seekers and dear friends with whom to share my journey, and work for social justice. At UUCB, I am sustained. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And I love getting to hear the wisdom and the thoughts of our worship associates in our services. And this month, starting this morning before the service, our personal theology time, some of our worship associates are sharing more about the sources of where their faith comes from. So I hope that you can catch that this month as well. A reading titled Sheltered in Place by Lisa Nozzle. As we navigate our world as it is now, this strange and unfamiliar world where we must physically distance ourselves from each other and shelter in place, let us remember the trees. Let us root ourselves like they do, standing separately, yes, but with our roots reaching down into the earth and reaching out until they meet and intertwine with the roots of our neighbors. Let's shelter each other, just sense our neighbors' branches where they can start dancing together in the wind. We stand in a grove, separate but connected. Our roots entangle with each other, our leaves whispering to each other. We grow rooted in our communities, drawing wisdom up from the earth, from this land, from this home. We draw up the wisdom of those who have tended this land for millennia, who know the meaning of this place. We extend up into the sky, inviting the wisdom of those who live in the branches, wisdom from feet and claws and feathers and fur of those who've lived and played here, who've found shelter and community. All those past and present, seen and hidden, who shelter in these places with us, who find shelter here. Let us tap the wisdom of the trees during this time. Let us live into the meaning of deep and radical connection, even when we are seemingly separated. Let us grow our connections so deep into the earth and so wide into the canopy that we know, like the trees, that we are not alone, never alone. Now, while this piece was written earlier in the pandemic, many things still speak. And in fact, many things will continue to speak to us even after we are gathering in person more frequently and in larger numbers. We are separated individuals, yes, living in different places, and we're also connected through the communities we're part of, the neighborhoods we share, and quite literally through the air that we breathe. And as we look forward into the next year for UUCB, I'd like us to think on these things as we explore some of the core parts of our religious community and what it is that we seek here: sustenance and sanctuary. And as you know, trees provide both of these for each other, sustenance and sanctuary. Is anyone else here a tree person? We got tree people here? Got any good old-fashioned tree huggers? By the way, if you've never given a tree a really good hug, I totally recommend it. It feels amazing to wrap your arms around a tree, put your face right into her bark, and give her a good, heart-filled hug. So by the way, if I get to assign you homework this week, it's that. Go hug a tree this week. Really good bear hug a tree. Trees are both individual beings, and they are also part of a truly interconnected whole of a forest. And while you might think of tree roots as being tap roots that go down deep into the earth, more often the roots stay closer to the surface and branch out, literally intertwining with the roots of those around them. One of the effects of this intertwining is that when one tree faces a lot of stress or pressure that might take it down, it is literally held up by those around it. Kind of gives the song "Lean on Me" a little bit of new meaning, right? The root systems of trees are amazing too. And while we might not think of them as readily, since they're usually hidden from our eye under the ground, the tree roots are fascinating. Have you ever seen one of those pictures that shows the parts of the tree above the ground as well as below? I'm always more fascinated by the roots than the rest of it. And the roots are strong, too. The spot where my tiny house was parked up until about a month ago learned this the hard way. There was a white poplar tree right alongside the house and driveway. And when it was first planted there, it was just, left to do its thing. It's just a tree, right? Well, doing its thing meant growing whichever way it wanted, especially underground. And trees are viciously strong and persistent. Slab of concrete? Yeah, no problem. What made the driveway unusable over time. The tree roots had literally broken the concrete part and raised it up by a number of inches and just kept going. This is what we need our roots to be able to do. We need our roots, our connections with each other, our arms that reach out and know that one another are there even when we can't see them. They help keep us up when forces would knock us down. And they are right there with us, ready to bust through any concrete that might get in our way. And there's not much that roots and plants can't get through. And the exploration/study titled The World Without Us, that took a look at abandoned places to see what happens once the humans disappear from it. Turns out it took way less time than the researchers expected for the plants and their roots to utterly destroy seemingly solid structures. Parking lots, pavement, solid buildings, the persistence of connections and growth and life were just too much for them. This is most certainly what we want our connections and our communities to be able to do, both for each of us as well as what we can do collectively. When we talk about sanctuary, this is one of the things we're talking about. We shelter each other. We help hold each other up, and there is a reassurance that we feel out through our tree roots, feeling one another around us. And there are other senses of sanctuary that we seek out here, and that's why this space is literally called a sanctuary. Like the safety and shelter felt in a grove of trees, we look to these walls, either literally or metaphorically, to shelter us from challenges and stresses when they rock our lives. Some traditions take this to another level. Did you know that the stained glass filling the windows in church sanctuaries literally represents the shelter and separation from the outside world, and represents it beautifully? The sanctuary movement, sheltering folks who are at risk of deportation, for instance, is another representation of the safe haven that churches provide. This is where folks are literally housed and protected on a church's physical property. And the safe haven of that space is, by and large, respected by relevant enforcement agencies on the grounds that it is sacred. And now, this has, on occasion, been violated in the past, but it is still largely respected. And with the current sanctuary movement and support for immigrants, there are a number of ways that congregations support folks. Some do have the physical space and structure to be able to take on a family and house them on their campus. But it's okay, most do not. So they, like UUCB, help out in other ways. And all of these congregations are sanctuary congregations because of their actions and support in whatever ways these may take form. And now, as we're, exploring the word sanctuary today, I don't want to take it too far, even though there are plenty of perceptions and expectations otherwise. Going a bit too far down the path of expecting complete and utter safety and protection is both an illusion and can be harmful when it doesn't come to be. There are two senses of this I want to bring up today. One is how often small groups and classes and discussions of any sort that happen in churches are talked about as being safe spaces. Now, this is entirely different from the sense of sanctuary we've been talking about, where the church is comforting and supporting place and offering a safe haven. Because safe space carries with it the assumption that there is some sense of ultimate safety there and that no harm will come while you're in that space. And this simply isn't true. Frankly, because these groups are filled up with human beings. Flawed, often broken in a number of ways, imperfect human beings. And now we do have behavioral covenants, like UUCB's Covenant of Right Relations. But these aren't promises. They're rather things that call us back to our agreements and call us back to our hopes when harm has taken place. And I hope that we can assume that our fellow flawed human beings come with good intention and a compassionate heart. But remember that intent and impact are entirely different things, and that even with all the best intentions of the world, harm can and does often result. But doesn't mean we should shy away from these groups. In fact, I believe small groups of their many sorts are the most powerful part of our communities. But instead of coming in and accepting and expecting a safe space, I would challenge us to instead to think of it as a brave space. A space where risks happen along with the hope that trust can build along with people who care about one another. And there's another sense of safety, somewhat related, that has come up more recently as we've been in the many conversations about reopening the church for large in-person activities. This is how some folks literally talk about wanting their health safety to be guaranteed. Literally, that's the way it's put, is for their safety to be guaranteed. And this is a hard one, because of course, everyone wants to be safe at church, and the sense of being safe from disease exposure. We've had enough fear of that over the past 2 years. One of my greatest fears during the pandemic has been being a transmitter of COVID, being a vector that gets someone else seriously ill or worse. And I would love to be able to know that we could promise that everyone is protected from disease while they're here at a church activity. But of course, that's impossible. All that's really possible is reducing the risk as much as we can with things like great ventilation systems. The one here in this sanctuary literally exchanges the air at a rate that makes this the equivalent of outdoor air. That's why it gets cold in here, although the heater's been fixed, so it's a little bit better. And when we get a bunch of people in this space, that'll be even better. But this is literally outdoor air in here. And having practices that have been shown to reduce risk as well. But of course, especially with something like asymptomatic COVID, and because, there's a degree of the honor system as far as if you've been symptom-free and not having known exposure over the past 5 days. It's a complex situation, and perfect safety isn't really possible anywhere, much less a communal gathering space. But this can still be a sanctuary and a safe haven. It can still be a place where, whether in person or in different little Zoom windows, as we've gotten so used to seeing one another, where we can look at one another and assure one another that we will make it through this, whatever this may be for us at the time. We come to church looking for sanctuary. We also come here looking for sustenance. Now, what is it I mean by this? Now, folks talk about this in a number of different ways. I've heard folks talk about coming to church on Sunday to get filled up, to be able to get through their week. Maybe it's through the thoughts shared. Often it's the music. And also it's getting to see people who care about you and remind you that you aren't all alone no matter what you may be going through. Folks come for the emotional and spiritual nourishment to take them forward. And often for the physical nourishment too. Church potlucks are probably one of the longest standing traditions for as long as churches or any sort of religious communities have been gathering. And you know, it's other kinds of sustenance and nourishment too. Something I've observed about social justice and outreach passions in UU congregations is that they're really twofold. There's the stuff the congregation does, that the congregation sponsors, social justice councils and committees and task forces and partnerships and sponsorships and the like. But there's another sense that's just as important. So many folks, so often, both the usual suspects who are often involved with official social justice work, but many others have their own passion areas and the ways that they themselves are involved in seeking and supporting change in the world. Our Marsha Sexton was a great example of this. She worked on disability rights issues throughout her career and was able to make some great change happen. It wasn't an official project of the church, but rather her own passion. And what I'm getting at is that the support and sustenance and nourishment and encouragement for that kind of work that individual folks do, that kind of nourishment happens here too. Then there's the sustenance that is the core of our congregations as well. The sustenance and encouragement for everyone of all ages to seek out their spiritual paths, to seek out their truths. These journeys don't just go automatically. They need fuel to keep going. They need sustenance. What do we come here for? What do we seek here? We seek sanctuary, a comforting safe haven, a sheltering grove, a root system that holds us right. And we seek sustenance, nourishment, encouragement, inspiration, shared music. We seek these things and more. And this is what we support by helping to make this community happen. Okay, you knew I had to go there. It is Pledge Drive Kickoff Sunday. This is what we help to create by supporting this congregation. And it is because of you that we make this congregation what we hope it may be. Thank you for your ongoing support to help keep this place of sanctuary and sustenance going. Blessed be.
Hello, my name is Suzette Anderson Dugan, and I have been a member of this congregation for many years. I have had the opportunity and pleasure to be involved in a few groups. I have been a volunteer religious education teacher, served on the Family Ministry Committee, the People of Color Caucus, the interim minister, Mystery Search Committee, and I have also most recently served on Widening the Circle. Today, as part of the annual stewardship campaign, I'm going to share a few thoughts with you about why I give. My family came to UUCB looking for a church that would provide a spiritual set of values for our young child that was not focused on religious dogma. Little did we know that when we walked through the doors that we would be stepping into community. This community is passionate in its generosity, and that was easy to see every Sunday through the sermons, the services, music, special celebrations such as Christmas, coming of age, and even, yes, our congregational meetings. These happened face-to-face, in person, in the sanctuary, in the courtyard, social hall, and many other spaces within the church. These past 2 years of the pandemic have been challenging because the physicality of church has not been possible. And yet, it is this community that has kept us in contact with each other and together. Amazingly, the things that happened before the pandemic continue to happen. Service continues to happen, special celebrations continue to happen, and the many, many groups and communities that make this church and the wonderful things it provides possible continues to do their work. One of the many things that I have witnessed and admire about this community is that UUCB has been and continues to be about more than what is or about who is within its walls. Through social justice, adult education, and family ministry efforts, our generosity extends into the community. Some examples of which are LFDMC, Good Neighbor Program, OWL, and the tiny houses with the youth spirits artworks. This church has a physical place, but it is more than that. It is a sanctuary that allows each of us to live into our values. I want to repeat that. It is a sanctuary that allows each of us to live into our values, feeds our spirituality, and encourages us to become better people tomorrow than we are today. I, like many of you, give because we have experienced or participated firsthand in UUCB's open-hearted generosity. This year, I am going to challenge myself, and I hope that you will join me in giving not based on experience, but giving as an act of futuring. Give not for what is now, but for the UUCB or community that you dream about or envision in the days and years to come. Our generosity as members of this community will help UUCB push forward existing programs and projects, such as our youth team's endeavor to build connections among our middle and high schoolers, small group ministry, acts of reparation, social justice, whole church participation in and commitment to anti-racism and inclusivity, and in the nuts and bolts that keep the lights on, the fires burning, and searching for key leadership roles, among which are family ministry director and eventually a settled minister. Your value to UUCB is immeasurable, a small part of which is reflected in your annual pledge. Thanks in advance for your continued generosity that has made this community a magical space where we can lean on and into as a sanctuary. Thank you.
As we commit together to making this a thriving, loving community, we take time to remember that UUCB needs our gifts and support. We invite you now to make an offering. Each week, half our offerings are shared with a good neighbor organization that needs our financial support, and we are grateful that you are continuing to practice generosity with them during these rough times. This month, our good neighbor is the Women's Cancer Resource Center, which improves equitable access to cancer information, support, and care for individuals in the Bay Area. In a moment, Dolores Morehead, the center's Community Engagement Director, will tell you more via a video. It will be followed by our offertory. Details on how you can give will appear on your screen as our offertory begins. please be sure that offerings of any value are always received with gratitude. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dolores Morehead, the Women's Cancer Resource Center, and thank you so much for choosing our organization for your Good Neighbor Award. At the Women's Cancer Resource Center, we serve over 2,000 women and their loved ones each year. We're able to do that by the generous donations made by foundations, yourself, and individual donors. This allows us to be able to provide services, practical services, as well as supportive services. Practical support is our wellness programs, such as yoga, creative art, and movement. Our support services include support groups, also support groups for individuals who speak Spanish, who identify as African American. We have 2 metastatic groups for individuals dealing with an advanced disease. Also, we have integrative support groups. We also provide a psychotherapy program, which is free. And it's free because we have wonderful volunteers who are licensed therapists who donate their time. And we also offer navigation services, which allows a person to be accompanied when they go to a medical appointment. During this time of pandemic, we do this through telehealth, either on the phone or WhatsApp and also FaceTime. Our navigation program allows an individual to feel empowered when they don't, particularly if they don't have family very close. We have a free therapy program. Our emergency financial assistance program provides a one-time grant to assist individuals, including men, who may be facing some hardship. That can include needing a caregiver. That can include needing to buy tires so you can get back and forth to treatment. We have a group coming up, a fundraiser coming up soon. That will be April 30th and May 1st. It's Swim a Mile and also Move a Mile. You can participate however you want, and it raises 1/4 of our budget. Thank you.
When will the fighting cease? When will we live in peace? When our love breaks boundaries? When will the fighting cease? When will we live in peace? When our love breaks boundaries? When will the fighting cease? When will we live in peace? When our love breaks
Please join me in dedicating our offering. We dedicate our offerings and ourselves to the mission of this congregation, to create loving community, inspire spiritual growth, and encourage lives of integrity, joy, and service.
It has been so good being together today, even as we are virtually. And before we shift to our coffee hour on Zoom and to whatever else you have planned for your day, I remind you to check out our website or the week ahead email for all the stuff going on here, I want to lift up a couple of super exciting things. First, mark your calendars. March 20th for our first in-person and online hybrid multi-platform service. March 20th, 2 weeks from now, we're planning to be regathering in person to share our worship time. Now, we're going to have some protocols and we'll have a lot of communication going out over the next couple of weeks, but I wanted to review a few things. First of all, we'll be having folks pre-register for the service on Breeze, our church management system. Don't worry, there'll be lots of instructions going out for that. And then we'll also be continuing protocols for safe practices. This is one of our ways, of course, of trying to have a minimum amount of risk so we can regather as safely as possible, with required masking when on campus, safe distancing from one another, asking that folks be free of symptoms and not having had known exposure to COVID in the past 5 days. And then, of course, there are the fabulous upgraded ventilation systems, both in the sanctuary, the social hall, the fireside room, that keep this to be outdoor quality air. So March 20th, look for stuff coming over the next couple of weeks, and I'm so excited to be able to see you all here for our worship services. And we'll be online as well, live streaming at the same time. So don't worry, we really want to make sure we can reach everyone. And I want to give a great big thanks and shout out to all who are part of the effort to beautify our church campus and building and get it ready for its photography session this past Thursday, where we had both two-dimensional and three-dimensional video walkthroughs of many of our church, the spaces in our church filmed, and we had a drone flyover too. So we're going to have super cool pictures to get to share with folks that are looking at the church and want to see it. And really, thank you to all who took part in the huge effort to get the church ready. And now, hey, let's finish by singing. We'll join in singing our closing song, The Fire of Commitment. The words will be on screen. Hey, let's have some fun singing together.
Days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance future can begin.
May we go out today with a trust in the tenderness that so often arrives to hold us in our pain, with a faith and love that never ends and never lets us go, with the confidence and the courage that arises from within, but often not of our own doing, remembering and believing that all will be well, and all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And now from our time of worship, may you go with hope, with connection, with peace, and with fires of commitment. And remember, you are never all alone. Blessed be.